So, you want to build an app. Where do you start? What are the questions that you should be asking yourself before you even begin? My name is Austin Wood. I'm the founder of Fractal Labs, and in this series of videos, we'll be exploring those questions. Programmers, when we're talking about lists of things, we refer to the first element as the zeroth element. In that vein, I'd like to refer to the zeroth question that you should be asking yourself. That is, why? Why do you want to build an app? And I'm actually going to break this down into two further questions. The first one, we'll call that 0A, is what is the purpose? Who is the app for? How will it serve them? Sometimes answering these questions can take weeks of brainstorming and conversations, and sometimes the who, it can actually be multiple people. As an example, I'm working with a startup that does food delivery, and they have multiple customers here in the sense of who is the app for. They have the people who are ordering food, they have the people who are receiving the orders and preparing them, and they have the people delivering the food. Actually, of all those three people, the most important client is the venues that decide to install the app in their stadiums. This can actually be a rather complex question in itself. How will it serve them? This is also really important. We're thinking here, not just what are the features of your app, but more specifically, how does it differentiate itself from other competitors in the market? Also thinking about who, that can actually be yourself, perhaps. A lot of people who I talk with that have ideas for their own app, it really comes first from a need of wanting to serve themselves. They're lacking something that they would love to see this app in the App Store. They would be its first user. And that's actually usually a pretty good sign as far as motivation is concerned. Now, I said there were two parts to this question, why? The second part being, what is your expected return on investment? Now, I don't mean this in strictly the financial sense, like 600% over 5 years or anything mathematically complex like that. What I really mean here, and I like to understand this before starting to work with a new client, is what form do you expect your return on investment to come back to you in? And I usually see people here in one of four categories. The first category being joy or personal fulfillment. They just have an idea that they are so passionate about and they just want to get this out there in the world. That's awesome. The second category that I see people fall into here is that they have an idea for an app that they want to support their existing business or service. This is also a great reason, and I actually turn a lot of people away who fit into this category because once we get into the cost of building an app, which we'll do in the next video, we find that it just really doesn't make sense for the business model that they're currently running to invest in building a custom-made app. So in this category, I actually get a lot of coaches and consultants and content creators who come to me saying that they'd like their own app to support their existing business services that they offer. Serving perhaps as a client portal where they can keep track of session notes and the client can log their results, perhaps tracking daily assignments. Maybe there's a community aspect, some kind of social engagement aspect. When we get into the cost of building something like that, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars just to get the first version off the ground. Now, compare that to tens of dollars a month paying for services or using even free services like Google Docs and Sheets to track information with your client and have a single place where you can share information. Perhaps the community, maybe you host that in a free Telegram group chat or a Facebook group. So a lot of people I talk with in this category, there are actually ways that they can achieve the same thing that they'd like to see in a custom app simply by leveraging existing services without any custom development. So the third category here of expected types of return on investment is a profit. You want to start a company that is primarily an app-based company, and you hope to own this company and for it to eventually generate a profit. The fourth type of bucket here is that you're a startup hoping to grow a company either showing significant revenue or significant daily or monthly active users so that a larger corporation will eventually buy you out and acquire you. These first two types are rather similar, either building for yourself or building to support an existing business. You will more likely want to know the exact definite cost of your project up front to build to that version 1 and get something very concrete out the door immediately. These second two can be more similar. This one is a much longer road, perhaps, in most cases, but these two are similar in that you're looking to build an MVP, a minimum viable product. You have an idea for what your company, your app will be someday, and the truth is you're probably wrong. You're going to need to build a minimum viable product, get feedback on that product, and do lots of iterations until you get to the point where you're profitable or you are showing the kind of revenue or user growth that will get you acquired. So if you've been saying to yourself, I want to build an app, and you don't have a technical background and you don't know the questions that you should be asking yourself, the zeroth question that I want you to start thinking about is why. Those two parts being, what's the purpose for doing it, and what's your expected return on investment in this project? And if this is you, definitely like, follow, and subscribe, because in the next video, I'll be looking at how to take your idea and break it down in order to determine the cost involved in realizing it.